Welcome, everybody. This is the Bako Motorsports Power Hour. I'm Louis Samuelstoy, your host, and this is show number 30 here on Bakersfield.com. We are live, and this show is brought to you by the Bakersfield, California. We've been sponsoring or been covering this sport since, the beginning of time?
About 1896 or so, I would imagine. Back when you were born?
Back when I was born. Mike Griffith is here. I'm feeling it today, man. I'm telling you.
Are you feeling it? You looked like you were feeling it earlier.
I'm feeling it today.
Feeling something.
So, yeah, I'm feeling it. Feeling the pressure today. Follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on YouTube. Mike Griffith is doing a great job with the Facebook page over the weekend, covering Bakersfield Speedway's epic night of racing. You can find the race videos on there. The archive versions of this show are on YouTube, and we'll get to Instagram and Twitter at some point. So I saw that a lug of peaches might be coming our way at some point today.
Yeah. I was actually grocery shopping yesterday morning and was in a store and saw some rich pack peaches. So I, of course, took a photo and told a couple of drivers of red cars out there at Kern County Raceway Park that I was supporting their racing, and they appreciated that.
Nice. All right, we got the Grumpy Griff Award to give out this week. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm thinking Tina Bell.
Tina Bell?
Mini stock.
Did she wrap up the championship on at Bakersfield Speedway?
Yeah, well, she has to show up. I think she may have to take the green flag in a heat race, but yes, she did. And it was a pretty good performance, too. Came from the rear of the field, and she was on her game. Second straight win, 7th of the season. So deserving driver of the week for her.
Tina Bell, has she won driver of the week?
I think so. I don't keep a weekly count, but I'm sure she has.
Interesting.
And Kevin Collier got a hobby stock win out there, electing to his win though.
Right.
So I mean, he was right there in second, but Steven Johnson broke in turn 4.
And then you got the win.
Got
All right. That was interesting, but we'll get to that in a second here. The whole coverage of Saturday's event at Bakersfield Speedway. A little history there we're going to get to in a second here. December 5th, you're not going to want to miss this. This is going to be awesome. This is going to be a 40-page special section in the Saturday, December 5th edition of the Bakersfield Californian. We will unveil the Fast Trip All-Area Motorsports team at that point. Tina Bell will be on that team.
Yes, she will.
Eric Richardson will be on that team.
Yes, he will.
Buddy Shepard will be on that team.
Yeah, there's more than 40 that are going to be on that team. Billy Simpkins is now going to be on that team.
We've got Mason Ratcliffe's going to be on that team. Kirsty Young's going to be on that team.
Jacob Carey won the championship.
Jacob Carey won the championship. Yeah,
a lot of mini dwarf drivers on that team.
I tell you what's interesting though, and I hate to I spent a lot of time in the mini dwarfs, but in the junior side, another win for Cade Lewis, by the way, Bakersfield Speedway. That's Colby's son, right?
Yeah, that's Colby Lewis's son.
So big week for the Lewises. Colby nearly pitches a no-hitter, and then boom, there you go. So, all right, let's look at how to qualify for this thing. This is 3 wins at an oval track and you're in, 2 wins at a drag strip and you're in, and then go to the next one. Points championship at a local track or sanctioned series. So Jacob Carey wins a points championship. He's in.
Right.
March Meet championship, Kern County drivers only, if you won one of those, or Hot Rod Reunion, we're going to add that one too. And if you're well behaved, any bad behavior, boom, you're out. And that means arrests or shenanigans that we got to. Real quick, on Saturday, Bakersfield Speedway, Mike Griffith, people don't know this, is our most veteran employee here at the Bakersfield, California, in the newsroom. And he actually is a second-generation employee. His father was a reporter and an editor here for how many years, Mike?
25, 30.
30 years or so.
Somewhere to the 50s to retired in the 70s.
So he was an editor here. And on Saturday, if you look at the byline, one Allison Griffith wrote the story from Bakersfield Speedway, 3rd generation here at Bakersfield, the Bakersfield Californian, of Griffith's bylines in the paper. Kind of cool.
Yeah, kind of suckered her into that.
Did you?
He's going to be. We're busy in October, and I've got some hockey games I'm going to have to be at, and there's BC football, so we don't have a lot of staff, and so I was looking for somebody that might be able to go out there and do racing. And Allison's never covered racing, but she likes to write. She graduated from the University of Idaho recently, and she's in town until she, I think, heads to Korea in January.
Wow.
So I said, how'd you like to go out there and try your hand at race riding? Not an easy task on deadline.
And a fine job as well. So, is she going to do it this weekend too?
She's on her own this weekend, yes.
At Bakersfield Speedway?
At Bakersfield Speedway.
Steve Lynch will cover Kern County Raceway Park.
And I'll be out at the drag strip.
So it's going to be an awesome weekend of racing. Complete coverage of now all 3 tracks are running this weekend. Kern County Raceway Park. Steve Hughes will be here in our last segment. We're going to have Dar Hawthorne call in on behalf of Auto Club Famoso Race. We also have Matt Atolnik in the bullpen waiting to come in and relieve me possibly, talk about all the crazy things they're going to do at Famoso this weekend. And then Bakersfield Speedway, they're in the midst of the points championships and a lot of things to be decided. They're racing this weekend as well. Scott Schweitzer will be here in our third segment at 11:30. All right, let's talk about Mike Mosier for a second. And Mike Mosier's memorial services will be on Saturday at 10 a.m. at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints at 5500 Fruitville Avenue. And then immediately after the church services, the graveside services will be down at Green Lawn Cemetery at 2739 Panama Lane. I guess that's probably a stake center, I would think, for the church. So that's probably going to be a pretty big crowd there, I would think, for that.
Yeah, I would think they did this. They got a church that can seat quite a few people, and I think there's going to be a really large crowd. A lot of people. Both tracks are running. There's a lot of drivers, want to be out there at the service for Mike, and then hot-footed out to the racetracks.
I wanted to take a moment to read. We had an editorial in the paper on Sunday in the Bakersfield Californian about Mike Mosier, and it's entitled "A Legend Passes On." And I'm just going to read this verbatim how it appeared in the paper. For more than 20 years, the loudspeakers at Bakersfield Speedway have carried the warm and folksy voice of Mike Mosier, who celebrated his love of motorsports on a weekly basis from the press box at the historic dirt track. Mosier died last week after a long and valiant battle with cancer. In the hours and days after his death, hundreds of people poured their hearts into remembrances of a man who not only was a local sports icon, but also a man who volunteered countless hours in support of youth sports and worked tirelessly to improve the workplace safety of oil workers. We do not often memorialize people in the editorial pages of the Bakersfield Californian, but in the case of Mosier, it feels right because his contributions were so widely felt for so many years. His longtime friend and colleague, Steve Hughes, now the track announcer at Kern County Raceway Park, summed up the man this way, quote, "Mike Mosier didn't try to be a mentor. He just was. He didn't try to be your friend. He just was. Sounds like we need more people like Mike Mosier because it's clear he made Bakersfield a better place." And that is the unsigned editorial of the Bakersfield Californian in Sunday's newspaper, and I will try to post that online later today on Bakersfield.com and also on the Facebook page as well. Yeah, Mike, I wear many hats here at the Californian, and one of them is I actually wrote that editorial. I'll take claim for I wrote that editorial, and I don't, in my experience, you don't really write things like that, but in the editorial pages. But I thought it was important because if you look at, like we talked about the depth and breadth of his career, and that's what came out. You mentioned many times, like how many games did he call for Jack Frost football, or how many soccer games did he coach, or the band that he played in, or the work that he did professionally, which I think probably he was most proud of in some ways, I would think too.
Right, and then he's touched a lot of people, and I think it's still felt. I mean, they honored him Saturday night before the races. All the drivers came out with their cars and crews and stood by their cars, and they had a moment of silence in the national anthem, and then they all drove off the track and got about to racing. But that just shows the love and respect for this guy. I mean, and it is different. It's just different when you're so used to something being there. It's just a little weird right now without Mike around, but we'll get used to it, but he's not going to be forgotten.
No, not forgotten at all. So once again, the memorial services on Saturday, 10 a.m. at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints at 5500 Fruitville Avenue. And after the church services, make your way down to Green Lawn Cemetery at 2739 Panama Lane for graveside services there as well. And I, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it. But unfortunately, Mike, you're going to go, and we'll have full coverage in the Californian on Sunday. Okay, let's move on now to another topic. And this was last year, 2014, the Chase. Kevin Harvick with the big win, a memorable chase, a memorable run by Harvick, winning at Homestead to clinch the championship. Let's go to the next one. Here is the chase right now as it stands, and we're ready to do this. What do you think Harvick's chances are of repeating as champion are?
Oh, I think they're good, but obviously the Gibbs cars are running really well right now. They've got a whole horde of them up there. And Harvick stumbled at Richmond. First time he's really stumbled all year. was good in qualifying, was good early in the race, and then the car, I guess, went south. I was at the racetrack, so I was only seeing Twitter feeds, but they were not happy, and you didn't want to probably listen to him on the scanner live on TV.
He was not happy.
He was not happy, I understand. So got lapped once, got unlapped, got lapped right away again. So obviously the car was junk, and junk car finished 14th. So in saying that, if your bad day's a 14th,
right,
then you're probably not that bad.
Yeah, I mean, and you're going to have a bad day every once in a while. He's had a lot of good days. He just hasn't had a win for a while. I'm sure he wants to get a win in there. But they're going to be in Chicago this week. So 14th that's at Richmond, not Darlington. First in the Sprint Cup standing still overall. And then moving on, Casey Mears was 21st at Richmond. He's 22nd in the Sprint Cup standings. They were pretty happy with that finish, actually. I saw their news release out of that. The Mears group is feeling pretty good about where they're at, even though they're not in the chase. So this weekend at Chicago on Sunday, going up head against the NFL. Is that a good thing or a bad thing for that sport?
It's a thing. You have to do it. You got to race.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Not go around? You'd be not racing on Sundays. You'd be not racing on Mondays. You'd be not racing on Thursdays. And college football's on Saturdays. So you go hold your races and do what you can.
Right. I guess I'd rather go against the NFL in the South than they would against college football. All right, then they go to New Hampshire the next week after that, and then October 4th at Dover. All right, here we go. And Ryan Reed had a little bit of a bumpy ride there for a while, but kind of got back into things. 13th at Darlington, or at Richmond, I should say. 10th in the Xfinity standing still. Yeah,
13th at Richmond, a short track. I'd say that's a pretty good finish for Ryan there at a track that's pretty tough.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. We got Matt Atolnik coming in from Auto Club Famoso Raceway. He's going to talk about all these amazing prizes they're going to give away. Also going to have Dar Hawthorne on the phone talking about what we're going to see at the Hot Rod Reunion for one, and on Saturday at Saturday Night Nitro. So we'll talk about that after the break.